Romantic love is mostly anxiety management. Human beings have written songs about love for thousands of years. Poems, novels, religions. Empires have risen and collapsed around it. People have crossed oceans for it, killed for it, died for it, destroyed themselves for it. And despite all this obsession, I suspect most people have absolutely no idea what they mean when they say the word love. Ask someone why they love their partner. Listen carefully. Most answers sound strangely similar. They make me feel safe. They make me feel secure. They make me feel wanted. They make me feel less alone. They understand me. They make me feel like everything will be okay. Notice something. Most of these descriptions are not actually descriptions of love. They are descriptions of anxiety reduction. The person isn't describing what they give. They're describing what stops hurting. And that distinction changes everything. Because beneath much of what humans call romance lies something older, deeper, and far less poetic. The nervous system's desperate search for regulation. Attachment theory ruins the fairy tale. The modern conversation about love often begins in adulthood. Psychology begins much earlier, long before dating apps, long before marriage, long before first kisses, long before sexual attraction. The story starts with infants. The work of John Bowlby fundamentally altered how psychologists understand relationships. His central argument was simple. Human beings are born dependent, not emotionally dependent. Literally dependent. A newborn cannot survive alone, which means evolution built a system that keeps infants close to caregivers. Attachment. When a caregiver leaves, anxiety appears. When a caregiver returns, anxiety decreases. This isn't philosophy, it's biology. The infant's nervous system becomes regulated through proximity. Thousands of repetitions create an internal model. Safe, unsafe, reliable, unreliable, predictable, unpredictable. And then something fascinating happens. People grow up, the body changes, the brain develops. The attachment system remains. Adults often think they're searching for romance. Psychologically, many are searching for familiar regulation. The attachment system simply transfers. Mother becomes partner, father becomes partner, caregiver becomes partner. The machinery remains largely the same, only the costumes change. Why people panic after breakups. One of the strangest cultural myths is that breakups hurt because people are weak. The science says something very different. Brain imaging studies have repeatedly shown that romantic rejection activates many of the same neural pathways involved in physical pain. The nervous system does not interpret attachment loss as a minor inconvenience. It interprets it as threat. This makes perfect evolutionary sense. For most of human history, losing a bonded partner often reduced survival probability dramatically. Fewer resources, less protection, less social support, less reproductive success. The body evolved accordingly, which is why some people behave irrationally after breakups. They obsess, they stalk social media, they replay conversations, they bargain, they spiral, they become physically ill, they cannot sleep, they cannot eat, they cannot think clearly. People describe this as heartbreak. Psychologically speaking, it often resembles withdrawal, because the nervous system lost one of its primary regulation sources. Many people are not mourning love. They are mourning lost stability, pair bonding or dependency. Humans love pretending these two things are identical. They are not. Pair bonding is healthy attachment. Dependency is outsourced regulation. Pair bonding says, I enjoy sharing life with you. Dependency says, I cannot emotionally function without you. Pair bonding increases freedom. Dependency reduces it. Pair bonding allows individuality. Dependency consumes individuality. And many modern relationships drift from one into the other without anybody noticing. This happens because dependency often feels romantic initially. Extreme need feels profound. Constant reassurance feels passionate. Obsession feels meaningful. Fusion feels spiritual. Until eventually one partner becomes responsible for regulating the emotional weather of the other. At that point, love slowly becomes labor, and labor eventually becomes resentment. Emotional outsourcing. This is where things become uncomfortable. Many relationships function less like partnerships and more like emotional outsourcing agreements. One person becomes responsible for maintaining the emotional equilibrium of the other. Their job becomes reassure me, validate me, calm me, stabilize me, encourage me, fix me, complete me. The language sounds romantic. Psychologically, it is often dependency. Because healthy adults are supposed to regulate themselves first. Relationships should supplement regulation, not replace it. Yet modern culture constantly sells the opposite message. Movies tell people, you complete me. Songs tell people, I can't live without you. Poetry tells people, you are my reason for existing. The nervous system hears transfer responsibility. Then everyone acts surprised when relationships become suffocating. The fear underneath the fairy tale. People say they fear losing love. Often they fear something deeper. Loneliness, aging, social invisibility, financial instability, mortality, meaninglessness. Many romantic relationships function as buffers against existential anxiety. Think about how often people describe partners. They make life make sense. They give me purpose. They give me something to live for. Those are not merely romantic statements. They are existential statements. The partner has become a shield against larger fears. Fear of insignificance, fear of death, fear of being alone in a universe that does not owe anyone meaning. That is a tremendous burden to place on another human being. The soulmate problem. Soulmates sound beautiful. Psychologically, they're suspicious. Not because deep compatibility doesn't exist. It does. Not because extraordinary connections don't exist. They do. The problem is the underlying assumption. A soulmate implies one person, one perfect match, one missing piece, one destined completion. Psychologically, this often encourages dependency thinking. It suggests incompleteness. It suggests salvation. It suggests emotional rescue. And humans desperately love rescue narratives. Reality is usually less cinematic. Most successful long-term relationships are not built on destiny. They're built on maintenance, communication, conflict resolution, shared values, reliability, adaptability, boring things. The things movies skip because nobody buys popcorn to watch two emotionally mature adults negotiate household responsibilities. Love or fear of abandonment. This is one of the most important questions a person can ask themselves. If your partner left tomorrow, would you grieve them or would you collapse? Those are different outcomes. Grief is healthy. Collapse suggests dependency. Many people cannot distinguish between love and fear of abandonment because both create intense emotional attachment. But one expands your life, the other consumes it. One says, I want you. The other says, I need you. Psychology consistently finds that secure attachment produces healthier relationships than anxious attachment. Yet anxious attachment often feels more intense, more dramatic, more romantic, more cinematic, which means people frequently mistake dysfunction for depth. Why the best relationships feel less exciting. This is another psychological irony. Healthy attachment often feels less exciting than unhealthy attachment. Secure people do not create constant emotional turbulence. They are predictable, reliable, stable, available, emotionally consistent. And because the human brain evolved to notice threat, many people mistake stability for boredom. Meanwhile, chaotic relationships feel exciting because the nervous system is constantly activated. Uncertainty, fear, reassurance, reward, loss, return, repeat. The same neurological mechanisms involved in addiction begin appearing. Then people call it passion. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it is merely anxiety with excellent marketing. So is romantic love real? Yes, absolutely. People genuinely love. People genuinely bond. People genuinely sacrifice. People genuinely care. But much of what humans call love is not actually love. It is regulation. It is attachment. It is dependency. It is fear management. It is the nervous system attempting to create safety in a world that offers very little of it. Which means the most dangerous question is not, who do you love? The most dangerous question is what fear disappears when they're around. because the answer often reveals far more about the relationship than the word love ever could.